This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Coming up on TRS, Comics is finally back with a look at Red.
Rad Show.
So we're back with comics. It's been a long time since we talked comics, but we thought what better way to get back into comics than talking about a big comic that is being turned into a movie. We'll be talking about that movie tomorrow, but let's talk about Red the comic, written by Warren Ellis, drawn by Cully Hamner. And it's a comic that came out all the way back in 2003, and it's only a 3-issue limited series. It's a very lean story about a retired badass, kind of the guy that you don't want to poke with a stick. And
he gets poked with a stick.
A new CIA director comes in and pokes him with a stick and decides that they can't allow this guy to live. Basically what happens is all the new CIA directors have to be initiated by watching a video seeing what this guy has done. And it's so horrific that he says this guy cannot continue to live.
Yeah.
And so they try to kill him, and in doing so, he decides to kill all of them. Danny, give me your take on Red the comic.
You know, it's tough because the first 2 issues I felt one way, and the last issue I felt a different way.
What are the 2 ways?
The first way was, this is an excellent comic for people who don't like comics. After that first issue, I would put it up there with Why the Last Man, or
Ex Machina?
No. What's another one that's like? I mean, I think Why Last Man could turn to anyone. And it's like it just so arresting in the first few pages that it's sort of like you don't have to even.
It's a concept you can wrap your head around.
That will suck anyone who is interested in good stories, right? And the art in both those are so clean and arresting and captivating, and so it is with Red. The art is astounding, and it just works so well in graphic form. Like there's a great image of, the way they articulated him shooting someone in the head is a profile of his face, and it's all like inked and dark black background, and then a bullet casing floating in the air in front of his face. Like that's how they showed that. Yeah. It's such great graphic storytelling. The only bummer is the way it's all wrapped up. I found to be meaningless, predictable, and not nearly as interesting as it is fun to watch this guy kick people's butts. And it's really fun, like choreography. It's really fun. Very difficult to portray action choreography in comic book form. Usually it's just like mash of body. This did a really good job.
Elbow.
Right.
You're like, whose elbow is that?
Blam, blam, blam. You totally get how this guy's maneuvering throughout his house and the streets and all that stuff. So
yeah, I agree without realizing that I thought that until you said it, if that makes any sense. Because I didn't realize that this was a 3-issue thing. I just sort of thought that you guys gave me the first 3 issues, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then at the end, I was like, oh, well, that seems fairly final. Okay. But I think I agree with Dan, and maybe I would even go so far as to say that everything leading up to almost the last page, I felt that way about, and it was really just sort of where they decided to end it, which felt so like abrupt to me. I wanted to, and maybe it is also because I'm tainted by now having seen the movie. So I'm like, where are these other characters, and what happens after they do that? So, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more
very different
knowledge.
animals.
Totally.
And I use the word animal intentionally.
Oh, okay, very nice. But I think overall, it's written very well. It's a very interesting story. It's one of those stories that has the ability to be, in one sense, very familiar and obvious that this story would happen, but also unique and sort of surprising. Yeah. And it's sort of a hard balance to have. It's like you feel like you could have seen this story before, you feel like you may have heard this story before, but you also feel like this is the first time you're experiencing this kind of story, the sort of revenge story.
No, go ahead.
Well, I've been a big fan of this 3-issue limited series since it came out, and I bought it in issues. And I'm a big fan of Warren Ellis. I think when he's on, he's really on. And this is one of those examples of him being very restrictive. Like, it's 3 issues, it's one complete story. There's no fluff. It doesn't bloat anywhere. It's just the story of a man being extraordinarily violent because that's the best thing he does.
Yeah.
You know, like, this could be a Wolverine story almost. It's like
Right.
he's the best he is at what he does, you know?
Yeah.
And it is extremely violent. It is, I mean, it's gruesome at times, but awesome. I agree with you about the art. It is beautifully clean. And I would also highlight, David Self is the colorist, and I thought the coloring in this book was particularly great. I mean, he uses the red motif a lot, and in really interesting ways, and justifies it with sunsets coming through windows and stuff. It's a beautiful book. It's a really clean and easy book. I didn't have that downturn at the end. I thought the end was kind of a giant, double-fisted FU to everybody. Which is kind of Warren Ellis's, MO.
Did you feel, you reread it?
Yeah.
Did you feel any different reading it now than when you read it in 2003? I mean, since 2003, we've had movies like Taken and the Bourne movies, I believe, came out after 2003, or all 3 of them have been out since. I mean, maybe we had the first one before.
I don't remember exactly.
But anyway, you know what I mean?
As a comic, too, it was that widescreen storytelling that was really hot in the early 2000s.
Powers,
Oh, and, like the Ultimates and all that whole, Brian Hitch, aesthetic of the long, wide panels that were, it feels very cinematic, which is why when the movie was announced, I was like, makes complete sense, you know? It's it's a clear story, it's that widescreen action storytelling. I loved revisiting it, and I had forgotten little bits about it. It's such a streamlined story. There's really no characterization at all.
Yeah.
It's just an action beat.
Not only that, but the
issues.
premise, and we'll definitely be expanding on this tomorrow when we talk about the movie, but the premise is it's such a comic book premise because it's so simple. In fact, it's the comic book is more like Burn After Reading in tone, the way they handled the CIA. And it's very cartoony. It's very you watch this, the movie could not have been a straight ahead take of this because the comic is so you buy into it because everything is shorthand in comic book. So it's you buy into the fact that he just does the most violent thing of all kind, and you buy that in them just telling you that happened.
Of him looking disgusted and going, "We have to kill him." Oh my God.
Right, exactly.
And you're like, okay,
which isn't really in a movie. You
No.
need more than that, but
Yeah.
so that's why it works so well in comic book form. The way the simplicity
And
of
it
the
is
story.
gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I mean, there's a lot of. It's really funny to me that comics is such a medium. I mean, film and TV, you get that, but it's almost like there's so much more you can do to differentiate yourself in the sort of comic book medium. I mean, I'm just thinking back of comics what was it, Alphys Hool or whatever that thing was, that thick one about the guy who was esoterically sad about his life.
The
and it,
detective?
No,
Artemis Fowl?
Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
Like that, and then you look at something like this, and it's those are so, and even that one with the Indian reservation sheriff that was.
Scalped.
It's so crazy to see how sort of diametric the way the style is, and yet this is such an amazing way to express all these moments that it's fun to see the sort of art style of it.
My only problem with the art is the covers. I think the reason why I think the reason why I never read
the covers,
is because of the covers make it feel really cheap.
Really?
They remind me of
Boy, I didn't agree with that
Avatar
at all.
Press. Whenever I see Garth Ennis does an Avatar Press book, it looks it just very it is not as graphic as
I
the
like
inside.
how it's red, yellow, green, over the 3 issues. And
That's not my issue
cool.
with it. I think it's the quality of the art on the front. They don't normally you get to see a painted look, that makes it feel rich or
well,
just
that's not. I mean, that's relatively recent, thing.
but
I think I could have been more excited about it if it was just
Or graphic, his
red
face
and no
or-
images on it.
Yeah.
It would be more
Anything that-
enticing
I like
to
the
me.
covers.
the covers look like a page in the book as
Yeah,
opposed to
exactly.
something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Trachtenberg, Squarespace me.
So Squarespace is a place to go host your website and create it. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's wonderful. WYSIWYG editing, 24/7 support, Updating from the iPhone. They have an iPhone app,
Yep.
which I've used time and time again. I have a website called onecoolthingaday.com that is powered by Squarespace. Revision 3 has websites powered by Squarespace. They not only that, but they power some of the most high-traffic websites in the web.
In the web, the world
all the
Wide
way
Web.
in there.
In it.
Stuck in the web.
I think it should be in the web, not on the web. You're inside a web.
Okay.
You're caught in a
That
web.
does make
Buy
sense.
that.
Anyway,
I'll let you do that.
what is
inside
the
the web
what is
right
the
now.
deal? You go to squarespace.com.
Oh, you use the coupon code TRS when you check out, 10% off lifetime.
Lifetime of your order.
Lifetime of your website.
Lifetime of your order is a big freaking deal.
You'll be inside
Because-
the web for a long time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get trapped
You
in
have your
there.
website hopefully for your lifetime.
Epic. All right, people. Well, we will see you tomorrow. I'm Alex.
Extra
Albrecht.
Life, don't
Extra
forget
Life.
Extra Life. Check it out, tinyurl.com/Extra Life TRS.
Extra Life TRS. We'll be live streaming
And
there
Jinx.
soon.
Jinx, you can get this shirt from Jinx maybe.
Can you?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I think it is
Back
a
in the day
Jinx
you
shirt.
could. But also our shirts. So if you want to represent the TRS.
Jinx.com/TRS. We'll see you tomorrow.
You've heard what we thought of the comic. What about the movie? Tomorrow we're seeing Red.
And then the next thing you see, it's like no reason for him to be fighting the guy, but it's like he can't not do that.
I do feel like a straight ahead telling of the comic book is something that we've seen. You know, we have movies like that. And there were some older people in the audience that I felt
hooting.
they were hooting.
Slapping their knees.
Yeah. Hoot, hoot. So
Oh, wait, that was the Owls of Go.
Yeah.
right.